afternoon, everyone. Today is January 19th. This is my first session for the year, so Happy New Year to all of my friends and families. So glad to have you, so glad to see you, and I am looking forward to connecting. Let's make this year the greatest year ever, right? Let's make this year the greatest year. 2026 is your breakthrough year. 2026 is your elevation year, right? May you be blessed in all aspects of your life, spiritual, financial, physical, right? But definitely today, we're going to talk about finances. So, moun mwen ki pa pale anglais yo, mwen salue nou e bonne année. Mwen souhaite que yon année 26 en 2026 lan mene en pile prospérité, santé, right? L'argent rite, right? En pile l'argent doit venir joindre nous. Faut que nous kemen en pile l'argent dans poche nous année ça. Okay? So, hey, Melissa, thank you for joining my live. It's going to be a Duolingo today because my Creole speaking say, okay, we don't understand what you're saying in English. So, Melissa, I know you're a teacher. I know you're going to understand. So, Happy New Year to everyone. So, my name is Daniella Noel, for those who do not know me. So, pleased to have you here. I am a licensed financial broker out in the state of Florida, but I am able to work with clients in all 50 states, right? So, non mwen se Daniela pou moun ki pa konen yo. Mwen se yon agent de finance ke mwen ede moun e konen kote kob yo ap pase, ki sa pou yo gen en place pou yo kapab mene yon vi meyor. Mwen lisosye mwen ka ede. So, January, I like to set the ground when it comes to finances, right? Go over what we need. Foundation. So we're going to talk about foundation today. What do we need to put in place to have a bountiful and abundant, stress-free 2026. So, and whether we want to admit it or not, finances is the foundation, right, for all of those things to have a stress-free life. Because listen, when you have money, the stress is less. So, again, I want to hear from you guys. I want you to share. I want you to comment. What do you want to learn more of, right? What do you want me to talk more about? So, again, to have a strong foundation when it comes to finances, right? There are certain things that we need to have in place, right? Those who are business owners, it will be the same thing. There are some foundational pillars, some foundational things you need to have in order to cash flowing your business, knowing what's coming in, knowing what's going out. So we'll start with the personal. Why personal finance matter, right? Pour qui ça financier personnel, nous devons travailler sur ça, right? En Amérique, 60% moun en Amérique ap viv, yo pa gen assez kob pou yo viv. Le yo pa gen assez kob, li ba yo an pil stress, ki cause anxiété, ki cause maladie. So, nous devons prendre contrôle l'argent nous, de quoi que pour nous capables de vivre une vie meilleure, okay? So, personal finance, why does it matter today? More than ever, it matters because you know what? You cannot depend on the government. The government is not coming to save you. You have to save yourself. So you need to have your things together. You need to have your it together so that, hello la belle créole, bienvenue. You need to have your things together, right? here in America, the latest data that came out in 2025, just last year, right? 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that they're not meeting, right? When we say paycheck to paycheck, you get paid on Friday. Monday, the check is gone. They're not connecting, right? 60%, right? What does that bring when you are unable to provide, when you're high? When you find yourself in that type of situation, it creates financial stress. And we know stress is the leading cause for a lot of medical conditions: diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, right? So we need to take control of our finances, of our money, if you are looking to have freedom, whether it's peace, if you need to have peace of mind, right? Again, this conversation may not be for everyone, right? Some people, they just satisfied living a mediocre life, right? They enjoy the stress, they don't want more money. But if you want financial freedom, right? So those are the foundations. We're going to go over foundations that you need to have in order to have financial freedom. So again, personal finance, it starts with your personal finance, right? So what is the foundation? What is the first thing that you need to be looking at, right? In order to obtain that. So first of all, you have to know what your number is, right? If you are looking for financial independence, you need to know what your financial independence number is, okay? Meaning that if you were to stop working today, if you retire, or if you become NCAP, you become disabled, how much money do you need, to spend the next 20, 30 years, right? So to maintain your current living status. So when we talk about financial independence number, okay, when you retire, again, retirement is not an age. You can take retirement whenever. Retirement is when your assets can take care of your liabilities, right? So what is your financial independence number? How much money do you need in your second phase of life to maintain, right, your current living status, right? So depends on, how much money you make. So when we look based on the Power Bees, those who work with big numbers, right, it is speculated that you need about 7 to 10 times your income. So if you're making over 100K, right, over 100K, so you need to have saved at least 10 times that, so $1 million. But let's say that, you have a house that's not paid for. So you have to add that into your financial need analysis, financial need number, because you don't want to carry a mortgage. When you retire, you want to have a mortgage-free life. So rule of thumb, 10 times of your income you need to have saved in order to have a stress-free, in order to maintain your current lifestyle, so that you don't have to go back to work. So now I am going to say what it is. I kid you not, it is not a swear word. Budgeting, right? What is the power of budgeting is allocating your money. Every dollar you have should have a job. There should be employers for you. So if you have money just sitting around and not doing anything, collecting dust, that's not good. So you need to have a working budget, you know? Some people depends on the advisor, they may do a 50-30-20, or they may do a 50-30-10-10, right? If you're a tither, like 10% for a church, 10% for a savings, 30%, right? Go for your discretionary on spending, your vacations. You need to count for those. 50% of your income should be going up. That's the max. If you are above 50% for your mortgage, rent, utilities, groceries, yeah, you need to work on that, right? So again, you can adapt the 50-30-20 rule, right? Which way it's simple and that should work. Simple spreadsheet, or we can start with a notebook. On a notebook, start taking notes. Everything that you spending on, every dollar that comes in, Christmas just went by. If you had gifts, gift cards, that's cash. Gifts, whatever you have, whatever income you have, put it on paper. You need to know how much is coming in and how much is going out. That's the basic of a budget. Because if you are overspending, that your finances will be in chaos. So you need to maintain account of what's coming in. So, yon nan premye fondasyon pou moun ki vle, freedom financière. Right? Gen moun ki pa ke, yap viv de jour le jour, yo pa bezwen konen, yo viv an vi médiocre. Men si ou son moun, ou vle viv yon vi meilleur, ou vle lè ou pren retrait ou kapab kembe même style de vie que wap fè kounya, gon certain bagay ko suppose mette en place. Yon nan bagay ou suppose genyen se budget, right? Budget c'est là que ou connaît tout sa kap entre, tout sa kap sorti, right? Et m'konne nan communauté na c'est là on fait budget pour ça et c'est nous doit connaître sa kap entre, sa kap sorti. Chaque dollar qui entre li suppose gen un travail pour li fait. Nous pas supposé gen comme ba mat la, en bas mettre dans caisse, fouer en bas. Non, li supposé yon côté pour ap travail pour chaque dollar ou gagné, li supposé gen un travail, right? So là on bâti un budget ou ka adopter formule ça. 50% aller pour caillou, manger, bilou, de l'eau, lumière, cab, right? So, tout dépense que ou gen pour faire, que c'est par jour, c'est hebdomadaire, right? Semaine, par mois, right? Par année, 50% de quoi vous faites doit aller pour bagay sa yo. 30% doit aller pour dépenses discrétionnaires, right? So, qui a vacances, pas vrai? Vacances, ou manger, ou sortir, bagay qui font bien, parce que wap travail faut qu'on enjoy tout, pas vrai? Et puis 20% pour serrer. Dans 20%, gen moun qui séparé, yo serré. 10% et yo bay, l'aumône ou bien yo bay l'église yo bay 10%, right? So 10% pour serrer, 10% sou gen dette, paye dette. So, apil moun, yo bon paquet dette, et puis, yap serré comme. Si ou gen dette, please, pas serré comme, paye dette yo. Ba vwe, il go en Amerika, surtout la pede nou avec crédit nou. So, 50% pour loyer, manger, utilité, bill, 30% pour mettre pour vacances, et puis 10% que wap mette wap save, wap serré pour emergency, payer dette ou bien pour buy l'église, right? So, after you have a budget, working on your budget, you should be accounting for all of your expenses 3 to 6 months. That will give you a good picture of your true expenses. 1 month is not enough, like 3 to 6 months of keeping track of what's coming in, what's going out. Now, if you said, Daniella, at the end of the day, there is not enough money, well, you have more months than money, then we need to look, what do you have? Get a side job, right? Side hustle, business. There are so many things that you can do. Provide a service to someone, right? Because when you provide value, when you provide service, then you get paid. So if you don't have enough money, if your budget is not balancing, then we need to look at, ask for a pay raise, right? If you're in that position, or start something that you can generate income so that you can meet your needs, right? So, in emergency funds, it is shown that in America, the average American does not have $300 for a simple emergency. So we have to do better. We can do it. So we need to set an emergency funds, right? Again, ideally, you want to have 12 months, because if you should lose your job, it may take you 12 months to find another job. But let's start somewhere, right? Start small. Let's have 3 to 6 months of essential expenses for unexpected events. Like this morning. Oh, wow. Yes. This morning, I was driving to Sanford to go to the MLK parade. And of course, it was totally my fault. I was not looking at where I was going. I went over the sidewalk and boom, my tire got busted when I got off the sidewalk. So that's gonna be about $200. I think those tires were about $200, not including labor. So, and the impact was so hard. I have all kind of lights going off in my car. I hope I didn't mess up, anything major. I hope it was just some minor sensors, right? So that is something, if I don't have it, this is an emergency, right? This is an unexpected event. Even though it was my fault, I wasn't looking where I was going. I went over the sidewalk, but I got a busted tire, totally gone, right? So you need to have those things for the unexpected events, because they're gonna come, right? So we need to plan for short-term goals, right? Car repairs, those are the things that you can use your emergency funds, right? So we do not want to be getting into financial panic and generating debt because we don't have an emergency fund. So nou dwe genyen yon plan pou nou genyen, pou nou se mette kob de kote pou plan d'urgence. Matin, d'apwa lan parade, jodi a se jou Martin Luther King pal lan parade, et puis mwen patap gade kote m'a conduit, et puis mwen monte sou trottoir. Le mwen descend trottoir lan, caoutchouc just busted. Caoutchouc a gone, can I do mbaka fanye avec li, se remplace pou remplace l. So, lò gwen emergency fund, se pou bagay sa yo liye. Li gwa kom sa vek $600, kom sa $1,000. Paske bagay sa yo, ya prive. San pa atan. Pa vre, malgre se te fote pa, patap gade kote mta prale, men kounya la, m'oblije mene machine mwen nan shop, parce que gon paket lumière ki vin nan dashboard lan, et pa konen ki domaj. Ça fait. So, again, si mbago emergency fund, mwen nan show, pa vre, m'oblige pou al met bagay sou credit card, but, hey, on $200, $300, $600, right? Minimum, so gon $1,000 d'un kote, lò gen yon emergency, yon bagay ki paret inattendu, que ou capable gen yon kob pou al faire, pou al teke li, pou pa oblige se nan det pou ale, right? So, the foundations, right, for financial freedom, right? Know where you at. Start there. Know where you at. Okay, what needs to be done? What needs to change if you, again, for financial freedom, right? Some people, if you're not looking for financial freedom, this is not for you. And it is perfectly okay with me, right? So foundation, you need to know what is the status, your health status, your wealth status, the status of your finances, right? Because you do not want to fall into that statistics where you're living paycheck to paycheck or getting stressed out of because the finances are not where they're supposed to be, which will lead to diseases, right? We do not want that. We want to have a simple budget, and you can adopt the 50, 30, 10, 10. 50% towards your rent, food, utilities, groceries, right? And 30% for discretionary expenses, right? For what you want. Get your nails done, get your hair, right? Eating out, entertaining friends, right? Hobbies. 10% for your church and 10% for savings, right? So as part of your savings, you will start with an emergency fund. So, you lock that up when unexpected things come up, right? So the next thing that we really need to look at is managing the debts, right? We as a people in America, we are drowning in debt, right? Credit card debts. We're just coming out of Christmas. We know a lot. I did a session on that. During Christmas, on an average, we add $1,200 to $1,500 in credit card debts to the already existing debt. So, yeah, we love Christmas, but if we're not planned for it, can really add to our pain, financial pain. And there's a statistic that I went over. So you got the debt in December. So it's going to start coming in January. The stress starts coming in. And that debt can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months because you already had debt and you just added some more. So again, we need to be vigilant. We need to position ourselves so that, Christmas comes, you have the money from your savings, right? Bill for that. Have your Christmas budget and only spend what you budget for Christmas, right? Or any other holidays, birthdays, or whatever. Debt management, right? The type of debts that we carry: credit cards, student loans, right? Mortgages, personal loan, payday loans, right? So again, we can do this. We can get out of this. You can get out of it, but do you want to? So you have to ask the question, okay, how do I get out of it? You can get out of debt by, again, adopting several strategies, right? Debt snowball, meaning that you're paying, first of all, you need to know what kind of debts you have. Some people, when I work with my clients, they don't want to do the budget because they do not want to see what they owe. You have to face it. Yes, you have to face the monster head on if you are to get out of the current situation, right? Write down everything that you owe. Pull up your credit reports. Pull all three of them, because some get reported to TransUnion, some to Experian, so they don't all communicate. So pull all of your credit reports and see what's on your credit report. Face it. It's not, by ignoring it, it's not going to go away. It's only amplifying if you're not taking care of it. So know what you have. Debt snowball. You can pay your smallest to your to the largest. Some people like that. Again, depends on what you have. I advise you to seek counsel of a professional so that they can really sit down and see what strategy will be best for you, right? Some people like the avalanche strategy, paying the highest interest first, then go down. Again, it's what works for you. You are an individual. No one should sit in front of you and say, this is the plan. What is working best for you? What works best for you? If you are unable to tackle the debt, you may need to seek the counsel of some debt management, debt consolidation companies. They work. Again, vet them, make sure that they do what they say, what they tell you they're going to do, right? Check their ratings, right? Check the Better Business Bureau to make sure there is no complaint against them, right? So that you can work with them. If it's too much for you to handle, they come up with a plan, a program for you that will allow you to pay your debt in a period of time that is suitable for you. Ideally, you want a plan that lasts 18 to 24 months, depends on how much debt you have, right? So understanding your debt and how you're going to, right, get out of it. Beware, high interest credit cards debt can cripple your finances. We see that credit card debt is the number one reason for people, right, to go into the financial black hole, financial crisis, right? Saving. So when you are saving, you have to know where you're saving. Don't just save to save. Okay, what does your bank offer? Can another institution, can another strategy offer you better interest? Because at the end of the day, building wealth is not so much how much, right, you make, is how much you keep and how much your money can make for you. So your interest rate matters, right? So again, shop around. There are some companies, some online that give some great interest rates. There are strategies that you can really amplify. You can really double your money in some instances. So we need to understand the power of compounding interest, right? So compounding interest, according to Albert Einstein, is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it earn it. Those who don't, they pay for it. If you look at your credit card, it tells you if you're just paying the minimum, there's a lot of times the minimum you're paying is more than the interest they're adding every month. So again, how are you leveraging your money? Is your money making money for you, right? So compounding interest, look for strategies that gives you compounding interest. Your money in the stock market is not compounding. If you are losing money, if you are in a strategy that you are losing money where you are renting your gains, there's no compounding interest. So right now, the two strategies that you really have compounding interest. Again, compounding interest is your ability of earning interest on top of interest. The two strategies that gives you true compounding interest is annuities and life insurance. Yes, you get interest on life insurance. I know. Who knew? Right? So that's for another show, right? We'll talk about that. Yes. So my Creole speaking, let me switch. Oh my God, I forgot about you guys. So nou pale pou moun ki bezwen genyen la paix d'esprit when it comes, quand il s'agit de finances, que nou di nou suppose konen ki sa nap entre, ki sa kap sorti, nou suppose gen yon budget, nou suppose gen yon fond d'urgence, right? Debt. Sou son moun nou reme kredi kat, right? Machine ou poko paye machine ou, reme kredi kat, ou ben wap pran kout pon ya, wap pran lon nan men moun. Faut qu'on cherche un moyen pour manager ça, pour gérer ça, pas vrai? Parce que li capable en devenu une douleur pour nous, right? Li capable koko ben nous financièrement que le nous gen paquet 4 crédit 4 avec un paquet intérêt ou nous pas jamais ka fin payer crédit 4 ça. So, faut qu'on cherche un moyen pour gérer. So, connected to debt ou gain. Rale credit report ou, right, to let what? Pour moun kap vivi si yo, mba konen lot moun yo, but pren conscience de ki sa ou genyen, et vine avec yon plan kote que ou capable sorti nan debt. So, un plan qui faisable, 18 mois jusqu'à 2 ans. Right? So, cherche konen tout ça genyen, gen de façon ou capable gérer dette. Ou capable gérer dette par payer ça qui pi petit an rive jusqu'à pi grand, ou bien ou capable faire ça lorsque ou payer intérêt qui pi haut jusqu'à intérêt qui pi bas. Ou payer premier intérêt qui haut après ça va dans deuxième nan. Ba vrai. So faut qu'on parle avec un monde, un professionnel qui conseille à faire ou qui stratégie qui pi bon pour. Right? Parce que ou sont individuels et pas gros monde qui doit dire que met en plan ça pou fait pour no, right? So, c'est ça qui est bon pour vous comme un client, c'est ça mon nan doit faire pour vous, right? So, le wap save. Ki kote wap mette kob la? Gen moun, oh, kob mwen nan bank, men eske kob la fè petit pou? Kob ou dwe fè petit pou? So, ou dwe konsyen de ki intérêt que wap gen sou kob ou an. So, gen moun, depi, nou, même si moun nan pa bien pour nous, but nous loyal. Quand il s'agit de l'argent, nous pas de loyal avec aucun monde, right? Si comme vous nan Chase, Bank of America, abo, yon 4%, yon 5%, sou kobu, al met kobu nan Bank of America, ok? Pas une question de loyal avec aucun monde, parce que, at the end of the day, c'est tête yo seulement, so nous supposons positionner tête nous, pour nous tête nous, tout ça capi bon pour nous en faire, ok? So, we talk about savings, compounding interest, right? So we have to, a lot of people do this backwards, right? Including me. I did that too. So don't feel too bad, right? We want to invest. We want to, because we like, it sounds so sexy. We want to invest, right? We're investing in crypto, Bitcoin, Doge, whatever. Yeah, futures. Yet we are drowning in debt. You cannot be investing until you don't have those bad debts, those high interest, right? So again, you will have some debt, your housing, your car, but you should take care of the bad debt first, by your high credit interest card. Your credit card bills, period. Get rid of them. Then you can look into investing, right? After you build your savings, after you build an emergency fund, you're managing your debt, right? So, and again, we love it. Oh, I'm investing, I'm an investor. But we're drowning in debt, and what we're earning from our investments does not come close of what we're paying out. So one destruction of wealth building is the interest that we are paying. Not what we're earning, but the interest that we are paying. So be mindful of the interest rate that you are paying out. If you're going to invest, are you investing in a strategy that's giving you 20%, 15%, and then your interest that you're paying is 2, 3, 5%, right? So again, growing your money. Yes, we need to be investing. We need to be diversifying our portfolios, right? A lot of times, yeah, I'm diversified. And when we look, they're all in the same bucket. Is all of your accounts is linked to the market where you don't have some tax deferred or tax free accounts. That is not diversification. Okay. So diversifying a portfolio should look like you have some bonds, some mutual funds, some real estate, retirement accounts. Retirement accounts, right? It's a whole show in itself. So some people are putting money in the traditional retirement account, 401k, whether it's self-funded or the company is matching. So again, tax deferred, right? You need to have some tax-free accounts. Long-term investing beats trying to time the market. You cannot time the market. So you need to be in your investment strategies for the long haul, for the long term, right? Foundation number 8. So let's go over them. For those who are looking for financial freedom, right? Mastering your personal finance is your path to financial freedom, right? It matters because 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, according to the 2025 data. Financial stress is the top cause of anxiety worldwide, right? Not only in America, right? When you have stress, it causes diabetes, heart attack, and stress can give you lupus. So it is, yeah, you need to do at all costs to reduce your stress, right? So budget, we need to have a budget. You can adapt the 50-30-20 rule in setting up your budget. Every dollar should have a job. You should have any dollars floating around with nothing to do, right? So the 50-30-20 rule, 50% of your income should be covering your rent, your mortgage, groceries, utilities, light, right? 30% for your wants. You want to travel, you want to entertain friends, right? And 20% savings. Some people do 10% savings, 10% to the church, their community, right? You need to have a an emergency funds. Emergency fund, you can start with $300, like my tire. It's gonna cost me about $300 to fix, right? Up to $1,000 depends on your expenses. Just so that when things happen, you are not scrambling around, right? Or getting yourself into more debt. So, debt management, you need to understand your debt. Oh my God, my allergies are kicking in. Understand your debt and how. Have a strategy how you are going to get out of debt. Where you are putting your money, right? How much interest are you earning? You're going to be able to build wealth based on how much you're keeping, how much you're earning, not how much you are paying. Investing, right? After you save, after you have an emergency fund, you manage your debt. Yes, then you can invest. You shouldn't be investing in crypto or whatever, and scooters when you have a lot of debts. Know your credit score, right? Your credit score is your financial report card. Pay your bills on time. Keep your credit utilization low, right? Ideally, you want 30-35%, but if you are going to buy a house, you're going to make a major purchase, the mortgage broker, the loan officer would want to see your utilization much lower than 30%, right? Check your score regularly, right? Have some sort of protection on your credit, right? What you can do, what is called ID Shield, right? To make sure that not everything that is reporting on your credit is correct. No one can sabotage your credit, right? Um, Everything on your credit is you, right? Identity theft. So protect yourself from identity theft, which I can help you with, right? So put parameters around your finances so that people cannot access them, right? So good credit means lower rates when it comes to credit card, right? So that gives you better financial opportunities because the interest rate you are paying can make or break a deal, right? So maintaining good credit score, a clean credit will help you when you want to buy that investment house, right? Investment property, start that business. Yes, you can use business credit, but your personal credit still still be taken into account when it comes to business credit. Planning for retirement. So the whole premise or purpose of financial freedom is for you to live your best life, right? Not only now, but in your second phase of your life. So you have to ask yourself what kind of life you want to live in your second phase. What kind of life you're building towards, right? So whatever we want, we have to build for it. We have to create it. It's not, right? It's not going to come to us. When you put a plan in place, universe, God will come right alongside you and make it happen. But you have to have the desire. You have to have the willingness to do some work. And part of that is planning for retirement, right? The earlier you start, the better it is, right? Because it gives you time to compound, it gives you time like to navigate through the ups and downs of the market, right? So, retirement age. Again, the government says 59 and a half, but you can take your retirement at 50 if your assets can take care of your liability. If you have enough money, you don't have to wait on the government. They're not coming to save you. You need to save yourself, right? Save yourself. So, again, retirement, you need about 70 to 90% of your pre-retirement income. So that's because you're not going to change your lifestyle, right? Actually, sometimes that's when people start living. They start going on more vacations, right? Taking their grandkids on vacation. Yeah, I cannot wait to do that with mine, right? So you need to have as much income coming in. Because when you go to the fixed income Social Security, that will not do it. And you have to remember inflation, right? You'll need more money in future than now because your money needs to be keeping up with inflation. Hey, if your employer offers you 401k, take it. Especially if they're giving you a match, take it. If they're not matching, you're just doing a contribution plan, then you may want to look at other strategies where, maybe you can grow your money safer. You can, control your money and not having somebody to do it for you. Take control of your finances. Take control of your money, right? So your future matter, your finances matter, but it has to start with you. You have to make the decision. You have to come into the realization that, okay, there has to be more, right? There is more to life than what we are currently enduring. Again, the government is not coming to save you. You need to save yourself. You need to have those things in place, right? So that when life happens, right, you can survive, you can navigate. So now, one of the things the last thing I want to talk about foundation. So you have your budget, you have your savings, you have your emergency funds. Well, what is the number one foundation for financial freedom? Is insurance, right? Because I'm sure you just got the Pro Max 17, you put insurance on it because in case something happens, right? You do not want to be without a phone or having to pay out of pocket. So what does insurance, right, or life insurance does is take the risk off of you and put it on somebody else. We leverage a lot of strategies where we use other people's money, but we don't see insurance or life insurance as a strategy that we leverage other people's money, right? So leveraging is the key word. So you have to ask yourself, yes, you're barely making it. Yes, you are seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to ask yourself, you are working and it's hard. What if you are unable to work? Life insurance can act as an income replacement for you, right? So when people hear life insurance, they're thinking, oh no, my family going to benefit. No, there are strategies that you can leverage again for income replacement in case you get sick. So you have to ask yourself, if you should get sick right now and you are unable to work for the next 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, or indefinitely, what do you have as an income replacement? Guess what? Life insurance, the right life insurance policy with the right company, right, can help with income replacement. I love this. I was made for sunny days. I hope I'm bringing some sunshine into your life, at least your financial. So definitely need to have some life insurance. Life insurance is part of your foundation to financial freedom. I'm not talking about insurance when you die and you leave it for your family. An insurance plan that you can leverage while you are still alive, still living. Now, a lot of companies will say, oh, yeah, we give you living benefits. Terminal illness is not living benefits, right? Living benefits is when you have a condition, a diagnosis of critical, chronic that you can leverage. If you have a critical illness, diagnosis like cancer, stroke, heart attack, can your insurance, your current, if you have insurance, can they or will they give you money just because by having a diagnosis? That's why we call it income replacement. Just by having a diagnosis, you're not dying, you're not dead. You are able to tap into the living benefits portion of the insurance and get money. I normally say you get a diagnosis. I know it's not fun being sick, but imagine you get a diagnosis and you get paid for it. So that's what living benefits does. Again, critical, chronic, terminal illness, and long-term care. So if your company, the insurance company say, yeah, we give, living benefits, but they cannot say we give you critical, chronic illness riders benefits. No, that is not. Some companies, they give you long-term care, right? You have to pay for it. It's not free. Again, with the right insurance company, you can get that strategy already built in. You don't pay extra for it, right? So terminal illness is when you have 6 months or less to live, right? Some companies, 12 months or less to live. They will pay you out up to 90% of your policy while you're still living. So imagine having 90% of $1 million, right? That's $900,000 that you can go and do all the things that you always wanted to do and you just couldn't. So if you have a policy, review it. Know your terms and your conditions, right? What can it do for you when you need it? I will always tell my clients, right? Take care of your policy when you can so that I can take care of you when you can't. Because I know the policies, the strategies that I leverage for my clients, they can rest assured they have the critical and the chronic illness riders benefits so that when life happens, again, we're insuring everything else. We're insuring cars, but the biggest asset, which is you, are you insuring that? Is that insured? Or are you just waiting, okay, praying to the God? So yeah, protecting God. Yeah, he'll protect you, but you need to do your part, right? So again, we're coming to an end. So top of the year, we want to get our finances in order, right? So that we have a better 2026, a prosperous 26, an abundant 2026. We want to get closer to the path of our financial freedom. So we need to take action now, right? So the time is now. Start your future now. Track your spending. Set clear goals, right? How much debt you have, how much you want to pay on the first quarter, second quarter, right? Review them regularly. Just like beginning of the year, you go to the doctors, make sure everything is working. You need to do that for your finances, right? So small changes can compound into big results. You don't have to go out there and do, everything at once and do something, right? Hey, how many times are you going to our favorite coffee shop, Starbucks, or whatever your Java house is, your coffee house is, right? How many times are you going? Are there alternative ways that you can reduce, your visits? Maybe get you a K-cup, a Keurig. Instead of going 5 times, maybe we can go 2 times, right? Look at your expenses. How many days you're going out, to eat? How many days you're taking your friends to lunch? How many days you jumping on Amazon? Do you really need those things, right? So take control. today for a secure, confident tomorrow. As that's the only way you're gonna get there. Again, by ignoring it, by ignoring your financial situation, it's not going away. So my Instagram link, that's all I had for you. So making sure that you are getting with financial professionals. Financial professionals like myself, we do not charge our clients, right? The companies we work with, the companies we are appointed with pay us. So you have nothing to lose by sitting down, by reaching out to me, right? Going over what you have. If you have a family, you need to have insurance for them. You need to have life insurance. We always say protect your family in private so that you're not embarrassed in public. And having your financial situation blasted to GoFundMe, it's something you can prevent. So that should be an embarrassment when you could have done something to prevent it, but you did not. So again, January, we have our New Year's resolutions. We do our vision board. Now, what they do their boards, which are, as soon as the kids have a social security card, social security number, they are putting strategies in place. They are starting a college planning. Again, let's protect our kids' future by having a plan in place. So, again, nous dans janvier, c'est l'heure pour nous réellement garder qui est à nous, que c'est physique, mental, financièrement tout. So, c'est un bon l'heure pour nous chita avec famille nous. Okay? Qui direction nous voulons prendre dans 2026 quand il s'agit de finances? Okay? Est-ce que nous continuons à faire tout ça qu'on fait et puis on n'a pas changé? L'heure est arrivée pour nous prendre vacances, nous ne pouvons pas prendre vacances. L'heure est arrivée pour nous prendre retraite, nous ne pouvons pas prendre retraite parce que nous n'avons pas un plan. Right? Si par exemple, aucune inclination pour gagner freedom financière, vous supposez mettre un plan sous place. Okay? Plan de retraite, si vous mettez comme dans 401k, est-ce que comme vous touchez dans 401k, est-ce que la passe? Ou bien est-ce que vous avez une stratégie que vous êtes capable de mettre comme là-dedans, que vous êtes capable d'adopter de quoi que vous êtes capable de vivre une vie meilleure? OK? So, nous parlons sous crédit. En pile crédit card, n'a pas acheté sans qu'on ait qu'on nous pas le payer pour lui, pas nous penser c'est comme c'est pas comme yo ba ou faut qu'on paye pour lui ou femme faut qu'on paye pour lui ou ça. So again, le nous a fait ça, il faut que nous connaissions comment nous pas le payer yo back. En pile fois ou pas payer à l'heure, ou charger et puis monter intérêt sur. So si par exemple on est américain, nous venons d'Amérique pour vivre une vie meilleure. So, bon paquet de bagages qu'on doit mettre en place pour capable bien vivre meilleur ça. C'est pas ça, on met tout dans la caillou, malgré vous voulez tout dans la caillou, mais nous va pas aller, occuper. So, yeah, faut que nous prenions conscience de la situation financière nous. Si nous pas faire assez comme, peut-être, on capable de chercher un autre job. Prenez un coup, bon, paquet de compagnie, et qui ou cap un certificat ou cap listen d'abgaler un certificat pour cyber security dans 10 semaines ou capable faire un certificat sous pas faire assez comme al prend chercher un bagage ou faire prendre un certificat prendre dans 6 semaines que ou capable like ou t'es capable faire 50,000 et puis d'un coup ou faire 75 ou faire 100 parce que ou gagne un certificat, right? Cyber security is hot. Project management. Si vous avez un anglais ou qui fait project management, ça on demande chercher un certificat qui en demande côté que vous capable pas vrai faire plus quoi parce que nous mettons des bails pas bon pour still get opportunité dans le pays pas vrai so prend opportunité tout ça nous gagner hey les pas coûter un paquet de corps pour obligé à prendre dette pour qu'à un certificat ou qu'à encore sera ou qu'à no, Udemy. Yeah, I'm going to say Udemy. No, it's not Udemy. It's Udemy. Right? Allez dans Coursera, allez dans Udemy. Prends un certificat pour capable changer la vie. Pas vrai, parce que pas que mon cap vient sauver ou, c'est ou même qui vous sauver tête ou. So, ou pa gen ase kob, wè koman ke ou kapab fè un business, right? So, mou fè 29 an nan finance, nan departement santé. Kounya la, mchita la, vin pala avec nous, having fun, and I'm getting paid for it, right? So, kapab, chèchon licence, que c'est real estate, que c'est assurance, bay sa ou se, de bay sa ou ki tre lukratif. Ou kapab fè an pil kob la dan yo, just du fè ke ou gen yon licence. Comme ça qu'on capable gon licence, ou capable gon certificat, li capable changer la vie ou ka changer la vie famille ou. So, sou ta me connaît comment que ou t'es capable prendre licence ou pour assurance, relez moi. Moi sur Facebook, joindre moi sur Facebook, moi de mon ami, please, Kembel professionnel. Pe moun kap mande m'zami, et boutan moun yo, et pas professionnel. C'est pas business, c'est besoin faire. Ou besoin faire l'autre business. So please, keep it professional. En pile ici, ap fè moun monte, ap fè monte dans Facebook. Please, mba mail zami ou, mais Kembel professionnel, s'il vous plaît. So comprendre. So vous comprendre? Comprendre. De toute façon, que nous n'en fait programme non que moi et ma patronne à réponse nous à commentaire nous parce que moi voulais tendre nous pas faire même je nous te fait l'année passée moi voulais pour nous relais pour nous voyer message bon moi pour nous dire qui ça nous pensait qui ça nous voulait apprendre de plus so dernière fondation que moi voulais parler c'est ici toute bagage c'est assurance. Tout bagage c'est assurance. Pas vrai? Nous mettons assurance sur machine, nous mettons assurance sur caille, sur téléphone, mais nous-mêmes nous pas gain assurance. Pas vrai? L'organe assurance de vie sur vous, li capable servir une fondation si vous malade, li ka remplacer un commun. Right? So, you laisse ça living benefits. Okay? So, prends assurance, protéger famille ou nan privé pour de quoi que pour pas honte dans public pour c'est pas GoFundMe a fait pour. So c'est tout ça me dégain pour nous aujourd'hui moi a parler avec nous encore l'autre semaine m'a entrer plus dans question life insurance avec nous demain. Merci, bye bye, au revoir.